All right, Dodger fans, welcome into the channel. This is the LA Dodgers Brotherhood. I'm Ryan here with my brother Matthew, and we are here with our first in a series of daily uploads where we are profiling and projecting the Dodgers' most important players. We're going to be going through basically the entire roster, or we'll combine some players too. But the point is, we're looking forward to this incredible 2025 season, and we're starting with Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who I think at this time last year we were hoping to be the undisputed ace of the staff going into 2025, but we did sign Blake Snell and Roki Sasaki. So I think this will lead into my first point. I think that might have led the greater national audience to kind of feel a little bit down on him. No, I shouldn't say down on him, but relative to the hype that the highest paid pitcher in baseball history that just had a pretty elite postseason run after his first game, and including 6.11 run against the Yankees in the World Series, typically you would expect crazy momentum building hype coming off of that. But I don't know about you, Matt. It doesn't feel that way to me. You could talk about that. We can keep going. What are your thoughts on his offseason so far?
Yeah, I mean, if I could put his rookie year in one word, I think it'd be underappreciated. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the only two things I don't like about his rookie year is the fact that it was only 90 innings, which is out of his control. It's an injury, and his start in Korea, which was 1 inning. And I mean, if you look domestic starts, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. And as a rookie, had a 5 inning shutout performance in an elimination game in the NLDS against who the Dodgers themselves have claimed were the best team that played in that playoff run, and then I believe it was 6 innings, 1 run, dominant start in the World Series. I mean, a guy does that as a rookie. By the way, while he was hurt, like in that game five I just mentioned, he was expected to go like 4 innings, ended up going five because he was literally hurt. So a guy gives you that rookie year, like you said, you'd think it'd be like he's the next star. We're giving the ball to him, opening day starter, and it just doesn't feel that way from Dodger fans. I really don't know what it is. Not to say that we hate him, but again, a guy gives you that rookie year. I think I would expect more hype, but maybe that is just because we signed the greatest player of all time is starting to pitch again. Glass now gets healthy. You sign Snell and you sign Roki. Maybe that's just the reason. But yeah, like I said, one word about his rookie year, I thought it was amazing. I think it's just a little underappreciated. And looking ahead to 2025, I expect the same thing. I think again, I think some people aren't as confident in his fastball because the stuff is nasty. The splitter, the slide, the curveball, the slider, it's all nasty. I think my biggest concern for him going into rookie year was how are they going to get to his fastball, and I think there's a not consensus, but I think there's some fans, some doubters that are worried about his fastball translating 2 to 3 years into the MLB. So yeah, rookie year, 3 ERA, again tremendous in the playoffs. Was the best pitcher on a World Series winning team. What would you say if it was met expectations, exceeded, or disappointed?
Yeah, so I think overall it met expectations. Because frankly, the expectation after spending $1 billion in an offseason is to win the World Series. And we won the World Series, and he was a legitimately huge part of it. You can't ask for any more just conceptually. Obviously, production wise, we want more innings. Again, out of his control. I'm incredibly grateful he avoided surgery because it was like a legitimate shoulder injury, and that's very scary just overall. But yeah, I really think that the hype is just a little down because of the off season we had. But as I was thinking about it, as you were talking, I was like, yeah, you're right. But at the same time, I think it's kind of nice just in that I think part of it, especially from the Dodger fans perspective, is that he already feels like he's just a Dodger, if that makes sense. There's no Shohei feels the same way, but there's a new angle to him. He's gonna pitch. Glass now is even getting more hype, even though Yoshi was more consistent than him. And again, I love Glass now, so it's not a slander thing. But Glass now, he left. There's still mystery about him, if that makes sense, because he wasn't here with us during the playoffs. So Yoshi being established for Dodger fans mentally to the point where it's like, oh yeah, we got Yoshi. He's gonna be good, just that kind of oh yeah, dismissive attitude, let's look at this new thing. I think it's probably better for him. The spotlight's going to be completely off, or I shouldn't say completely, definitely not completely off of him, But in terms of like intense media scrutiny, like, oh, this is his first year. What's he going to do? What's he going to do? He's a World Series champion. He was a legitimate contributor to that World Series. I kind of do think the hype dying down, just in terms of like the frenzy and stuff with media, is actually a going to be very beneficial to him. That's my new angle that I'm taking. I think.
Yeah, I actually agree 100%. I've never really thought about that until you brought it up. I think looking at the numbers, his baseball savant. You look at rookies, you think fluke. Or you always got to check like, is it sophomore slumps? Is it going to be a fluke? Is he just a rookie wonder? For him, looking at everything, the stats, the baseball savant page, the velo, the movement, everything seems to be he's just good. Like I don't think anything's gonna fall off this year, or really the rest of his career. Like what we saw is what we're gonna get. I actually think he might even be better because when he came back from the injury, I felt like his fastball wasn't as explosive.
Hmm.
So honestly, he may even take a step. But yeah, he's really for me. I think his ceiling is like one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball, Cy Young contender, and we'll see how that goes because we really haven't had that full experience of him. Um, Looking kind of at his pitch mix, maybe kind of want to dive deep into like the actual pitches.
Hmm.
My biggest thing to look at for him is he really figured out because he came over. It was like the four seam, the split finger, the curve. Like that was his three pitch mix. He really, really developed that slider, and
Yeah.
he really showcased it in the World Series against those big righties. Playoff Stanton is no joke. Aaron Judge, lefties as well with Soto, and the slider looked incredible. So for me, the biggest thing is I want to see how much more he incorporates the slider, incorporates the cutter, because last year cutter was 6% of the time, slider was 3% of the time, curve was 23. So not saying I want the curve to drop because that again that's an amazing pitch, but mixing in the slider maybe gets it up to 8 to 10%, especially against righties. That could really really be dangerous.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the pitch mix in terms of improvement and like where we can see numbers really shoot up, um, is absolutely like you said, the slider. It was a weird thing. I don't know if you caught this or anybody listening might have caught this. Joe Davis multiple times talked about how Yoshi doesn't, or at a certain point in his career, he didn't like throwing the slider because it was hurt his elbow. And like I just thought like, okay, why are you throwing it then? But then in the world, like in the playoffs, it legitimately was a huge weapon. So hopefully they find a way to get that under control because it did help a lot. And not just pitch mix, but also pitch sequence. Yoshi's like he only gave up I believe it was, let me pull it up. I believe it was 7 home runs last year, which is, yeah, only 7 home runs, and it feels like so many more. And I think that's just because he has so many get me over fastballs because like he throws 96, 97, and in Japan I'm sure when you're pumping that consistently you can get those over more often than not. But so much of the damage happens to him early in games and early in counts because he's not like locked in from a pitch sequencing standpoint from the beginning. So I think if we just get that, like if you change nothing about his arsenal and the way it moves, you take exactly that, but mix up the pitch sequence better to the point where it's not like you're not throwing any non-competitive pitches. I think the ERA just gets sliced like down at least half a run just on that. And that's not even including like potential slider improvements or just like general comfortability. So, yeah, I think ceiling incredibly high for Yoshi. I feel like last season, we can start getting into projections now. Last season is kind of like the baseline to me. If he ends up with like a 3.1, 3.2 ERA, but a lot more innings, I'm not going to be upset. But I feel like, I don't know, it just, after Korea, he was just good. Like just straight up good the entire, every time he was on the mound, he was a good baseball player. And I feel like that's like the worst we're going to see from him. So before we get into projection numbers, Matt, like, I don't know what we've kind of talked about what we think can change, but realistically, what would you expect from him this year?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. It's like the floor because of what you said. Like the only complaint is the pitch sequences, and that's multiple things. One, it's those very frustrating 1-2, 0-2 fastballs in the middle because he has some of, and the same thing actually applies to Roki. I saw it in the spring training game. The off speed stuff is so elite that they're always going to want to jump in that four seam. Like they're everything is going to be to try to hit the fastball. So if they can just mix it, because again, you have four pitches to go to. So if he, the more he mixes it, he figures out how to go to righties, how to get lefties. Because it is a process dealing with these MLB hitters. That's why I think he'll be better, and that's why I do agree. It is the floor from what we saw. The other reason is because genuinely, I think I was a little surprised with the strikeouts. I thought he was more of a strikeout pitcher than I expected, which is a pleasant surprise because again, I think if he's getting those swing and misses, this is only going to get better. It's just
Yeah.
going to limit the two strike hits, limit the stupid pitches because the guy has great command. He has pitches to go to, and he's generating swing and misses. I really don't see how he could get worse. Especially, I mean, think about what happened in his rookie year. He has the worst start of all time, like the worst beginning you could possibly have for an MLB player in another country with 5 innings, 1 run, and he gets hurt, and he still put up a 3 ERA. I really think it's only going to get better. Not to mention moving to a 6-man rotation. So it just seems like, and like everything's building for him to just get even better. And if that's the baseline, we're in for a Dodger legend.
Yeah, seriously. I think that their last sentence is why it feels like the hype isn't matching what it needs to be because we have him forever. He's 25. He won a World Series first year with the team. And it just feels like there's the building up to a career that could be unprecedented for the Dodgers. Let's go to specific projections. We're on Fangraphs right now. We got the Steamer projection. So they run a bunch of like different algorithms and stuff. I'm not gonna pretend like I know what the hell's going on. But they end up posting player projections and team projections for each player. We're gonna do this for every single player we get across, and we're just gonna talk about the numbers that computers say Yoshi can get. So Matt, stop me when you hear a stat that's like straight up no. So 11-8 win loss whatever. 28 games started. That is second on the team, only to Blake Snell. Again, these are projected numbers. 158 innings pitched. Ks per nine. Actually, I want you to guess. What would they have it there?
Paper 9. I think they'd put it like under. I think they'd put it under 10.
Yeah, 9.46 Ks per
Yeah.
nine. Walks per
And
nine. Go ahead.
sorry, he's. I would say, is he the only guy under 10? Because they're not gonna put Glass now. They're not gonna put. Is he
Of
the only
our
under like
projected
5?
starting five, including Shohei, he is the only one under 10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that checks out. I'd say.
Yeah. Granted, that is kind of low on him because he had over nine. I guess this is over nine. I don't know. We'll get into it more. Home runs per nine, 1.08. Everything's basically one there. Bigger one. ERA, would you go over under 3.4 for the projection?
I mean, if you're asking me, I think he's definitely under. I think Fangraphs would put it over.
Yeah. He is actually the highest of the six we have, including to
That
Dustin May.
that's where I'd have to stop you because of everything we just said. I mean, you
Yeah.
get 1 inning with 5 runs and he still put up a 3. I get that it was less innings, but he got hurt literally after the best start of his Dodger career, where he was only going to keep dominating. So
Yeah.
to me, that's kind of outrageous.
Yeah. And like Matt said, for those who are unfamiliar with Fangraphs projections, these are like they're never going to be good. I brought up specific the Yankees. They have two guys you would consider aces, Max Fried, Garrett Cole. Max Fried projected ERA 3.42, Garrett Cole projected ERA 3.99. So it's like to have a legitimately elite projection means you're like legit top 5 walking the earth right now. So that's what we're dealing with this.
I think. I mean, if we're if we're looking at that, we're going over under. I think he has a much better year than that. I
Yeah.
think. What do you think? Over under all those stats.
I'm definitely okay. I'll put it to you this way: ERA, no matter how many innings he throws, gonna be under that. I can almost guarantee. I do want to throw a little hypothetical. Would you take 170-ish innings or 162 qualifying for ERA titles, etc., if his ERA is like a 3.2, 3.3, or I say 3.3, 3.4, or 120 innings, but he's like at a 2.7? Like what season would you prefer from him?
I think it depends if as I think as long as he's healthy at the end, I take the better numbers just because the
Mm.
staff is so deep. Maybe that's selfish, but I don't know. I like because again, this guy could be like the next Dodger starting legend. I like him being as good as he can possibly be as long as he's ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I do get that. I guess that is like the most important thing, especially for this team. Like yeah, if, as long as you're healthy for the playoffs, it's good. Yeah, I will say, I don't know if this makes sense. I would take the more innings, higher ERA year next year. Like establish like this year, I want as dominant an ERA as possible. Just all the counting stats. I want just so people are like, okay, he's real. And then next season is when you could really extend your like extend the innings and stuff. And like, okay, he's just established a good starter. For some, it's again, this is also selfish of me, but yeah, I just want it to look like Yoshinobu Yamamoto dominated when he's on the mound. So yeah, I'd probably go with that too. All right, so we are coming to the end of the projection, first episode. Feeling good about it. We're gonna do every episode like a prediction. It could be something real, so whatever. I'm my prediction for Yoshinobu Yamamoto in the 2025 season is that he will have at least one game no hit 8+. I'm just like into the eighth inning no hitter. We will see that from him this year.
Yeah, I agree. Mine is similar, kind of. Is I think he'll lead the league, or not the league. He'll lead the Dodgers in complete games. I think he'll have
Okay.
multiple complete games because 6-man rotation. He used to throw 500 pitch shutouts in Japan. Like there is going to be as similar as it could be to Japan with the 6-man rotation. And I mean he's already built up. He pitched like 4 innings today. Those guys, he can go deep in games. I think. I mean, again, he pitches 160 innings. Hopefully, like you said, he's gonna get on a roll. I think he throws at least 2 complete games and leads the
Ooh,
Dodgers.
I like that. I like that. Hopefully ours combine and we just get an actual no hitter. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it to the end, be sure to subscribe. I know it's a smaller channel, but we will be back with a lot more consistent content. If you're watching this on Thursday or Wednesday it's releasing. By the way, also we're recording this on March 4th. These are going to be pre-recorded, so just in case we're missing some new information, that's why. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe for more. We will be back literally daily until the season starts, and then we're gonna have a whole nother round of content coming out. So if you enjoyed, stick around. Thanks for watching.